Long before his bass lines became the heartbeat of global reggae, Aston Francis Barrett was a man shaped by conflict as much as by music. Known worldwide as Family Man, he spent the later decades of his life locked in bruising legal battles over credit, ownership, and money, battles that expose the uneasy truth behind the global success of reggae's most famous catalog. In 2006, Barrett launched a high-profile lawsuit against Island Records and the Marley estate, claiming he and his late brother were owed tens of millions in unpaid royalties for their role in building the sound and arrangements behind the work of Bob Marley and the Wailers. He argued that the bass lines, arrangements, and studio leadership he provided were not merely accompaniment, but authorship. The case collapsed in court, however, after judges ruled that Barrett had signed away future claims in a 1994 settlement. The defeat cost him dearly, financially and emotionally, leaving him burdened with massive legal fees and forcing the sale of property he had spent a lifetime acquiring. During the trial, testimony from members of the Marley family reduced the Barrett brothers to the status of session musicians, a label Barrett found deeply insulting after decades as the band's musical director and sonic architect. Controversy followed him into his private life as well. His nickname, Family Man, took on an ironic weight as the public learned he had fathered 41 children with multiple partners. To some, the number symbolized excess. To Barrett, it was proof of responsibility. He often framed his royalty claims as a fight to provide for a vast family that depended on him. Even in victory or defeat, he carried the pressure of being both patriarch and provider, a role that haunted him as much as it defined him. These public storms stood in stark contrast to the humble beginnings that formed him. Born in Kingston in 1946, Barrett grew up in the tough tenement yards of downtown neighborhoods where music spilled from windows and courtyards like daily bread. Money was scarce. Before the world knew his name, he learned to survive with his hands, welding metal, fixing bicycles, and taking whatever work could keep food on the table. When he could not afford a bass guitar, he built one himself from scrap wood, plywood, and cord. The instrument was crude, but the discipline it forged was permanent. His early schooling was interrupted by frequent moves, pushing him into vocational training in the Jamaican countryside, where he qualified as a welder. Music, however, was the only craft that truly claimed him. Self-taught and relentless, he absorbed the rhythms of Kingston streets and the pulse of sound system culture until his playing became unmistakable, deep, melodic, and steady enough to carry an entire band on its back. Alongside his younger brother Carlton Barrett, he began performing in local groups before being drawn into the orbit of the brilliant and volatile producer Lee "Scratch" Perry. With Perry, the Barrett brothers helped shape the skeletal, echo-drenched sound that would evolve into dub. Their rhythm sections soon became so sought after that when they joined Marley's band in 1969, it felt less like a lineup change and more like destiny clicking into place. Within the Wailers, Barrett was far more than a bassist. After Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer departed in the mid-1970s, Barrett emerged as the band's musical director, arranger, and co-producer. Albums like Catch a Fire and Exodus bore his fingerprints in every groove. His bass lines were not flashy, they were foundational, slow-burning melodies that anchored Marley's voice and turned protest songs into global anthems. Beyond Marley, his sound quietly shaped reggae itself. He mentored younger musicians, including Robbie Shakespeare, passing down the feel and discipline of the rhythm section that had conquered the world. By the time reggae became an international language, Barrett's phrasing had become part of its grammar. After Marley's death in 1981, Barrett carried the legacy forward, leading the Wailers band for decades, touring relentlessly and keeping the music alive on stages around the world. Even as lawsuits strained his finances and age weighed on his body, he continued to perform, driven by loyalty to the sound he had helped create. In his later years, he split time between Jamaica and Miami, where he eventually passed away in 2024. His life closed as it had often unfolded, surrounded by arguments over money and ownership, but also by the unarguable truth of his influence. The reggae world may forever debate contracts and credits, but it does not debate the sound. Every time a bass line rolls low and steady beneath a skanking guitar, the shadow of Family Man moves through the rhythm. He was a builder in every sense, of instruments from scraps, of grooves from silence, of families from chaos, and of a musical foundation that carried reggae from Kingston Yards to the world.